I haven't been recording quite as much the last week or so, just because, honestly, I've been pretty frustrated. There's been a lot of, various logistical things not working out, and I'm feeling kind of stressed out because I'm leaving for this really long motorcycle trip in, 3-ish weeks now, and I'm really excited about the trip, but I have the least money I've had in a very long time, not enough to pay for the trip. So I'm going to have to find some way to make that happen. It's a trip with 2 other friends. We're riding down through South America, and we ride for 4 to 7 weeks a year. And so I can't really change when the trip is. I'm basically the mechanic and navigator for that trip. That's kind of my role of the 3 of us, and the other 2 guys are, of course, do some of that too, but are primarily videographers and make feature films out of each trip. I'll link to the first 2 films somewhere over here. So yeah, it just feels like kind of a unfortunate time to be leaving because A, I don't have any money, and B, any momentum I build in terms of customers in the next few weeks is going to probably kind of get nuked when I then am gone for 6 weeks, and anytime someone tries to hire me, I have to say, sorry, I'll be there in over a month. And of course, it's taking a while for things to get rolling. I've been here for about 6 weeks now, and I've been gone for probably almost 2 weeks of that, but I don't know, just, of course, everything takes longer than you think it will, and I've only had a couple paid jobs. I'll have a couple more this week, which is great, but that's not that much in 6 weeks, and it's also become clear to me how much I'm going to have to spend on tools and stuff like that before I can even do half the stuff. It seems like basically every job I do that isn't a job I've done before, I end up having to spend as much on tools as I get paid for the job. And I know that's just the nature of the beast. I was in some ways prepared for this, but just the reality of it is, of course, a bit more stressful than just thinking about it ahead of time. So I think I'm probably going to have to take out some kind of friends and family loan. I'm lucky that I have the ability to do that. I've never really done it before, but this seems like the time, just to give myself enough buffer to let things build. And it's clear to me that there is demand around here, but getting my name out there is just going to take some time. This area seems to really run on word of mouth, as I think is true of most rural places, and so until people know about me, I'm not going to get hired, of course, and that is starting to happen a little bit, but again, it's just taking a while. I also bought this truck to flip, and I went to pick it up, but it turns out the dolly trailer that was sitting around here was messed up, and so I spent half a day dealing with that, only to discover that it just couldn't even be used on this truck. The hitch on this is too high, basically, to hook up that trailer without it dragging on the ground from it being at an angle. So I bought basically a receiver that I can bolt onto the pintle bolts on this truck, right here, and then I can put a drop hitch in that, and oh, fuck me. I actually just realized as I said this that I don't think there's enough height on this plate for me to bolt up the thing I bought to it, which is really a shame. Hopefully I can find some way to make that work. If I can't, I'm not really sure how I would use a receiver on this. I didn't think of that. Damn it. Well, as you can see, the problems continue. But anyway, yeah, it just seems like for everything I'm trying to do, I need more stuff than I have. So to pick up that truck, which I thought I could pretty easily do with this, I either need to figure out the rigging so that I can lift the truck onto this bed, which I think is possible weight-wise, but I need some crazy spreader bar setup just to be able to pick up a whole truck at once with the crane. Or I need to find a way to hook a trailer to this pintle hitch, but most trailers I'm finding just can't be tilted that far up. This is built to have big equipment trailers on it, not smaller trailers. And my template on this truck expired, so I have to register it. But to register it, I need a Washington ID, and so I transferred my ID, and that was $250, and then I'll have to register this on Monday when the court opens. and that'll probably be another several $100s. And so there's just a lot of steps to being able to do anything that I kind of didn't anticipate. I know that's kind of the nature of the beast with doing new stuff, but when there's also the element of, and I really need to make some money, and hopefully soon, it's just a bit more stressful. I also wasted like a week being really focused on trying to make enough money to pay for the motorcycle trip in the time before I leave, and was just kind of obsessively browsing Marketplace, trying to find something that was a good enough deal that I could flip it quickly and make enough money to pay for that trip. I probably need like $5,000 or $6,000. Those trips are really expensive. And after like a week of that, I realized that I was really just wasting time, and that wasn't likely that I was actually going to find a way to make that money before I left. And that my whole sort of ethos around what I'm trying to do with this business is to think long term, and I can't think long term if I'm obsessing over making $5,000 in the next 3 weeks. And so I should just bite the bullet and take the loan, but it's still kind of hard to wrap my head around that, I guess. And some other stuff happened, like I got a slight concussion because I was working underneath this thing and stood up too fast getting out from under it, so that took me out for a couple days. And I got sick for a day, and the service body that I was going to buy suddenly disappeared. Like the guy messaged me, and then like 2 minutes later, I went to look at it, and the whole conversation had disappeared, and the listing had disappeared, and it didn't seem like he'd sold it. Like the way things look when they get sold looks very different than what happened, and that was a really good deal, and that fell through. And so now I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford a proper service body for this thing anytime soon. So I don't know. There's just been a lot of hurdles in the last week or two, and that has made me not want to film. But I know that documenting this part of things is part of the deal too. I guess on the bright side, tomorrow I'm going to check out this 528i that's in Longview, like an hour from here, that is having issues. It like won't stay running, and the guy who owns it responded to my Craigslist ad. So it's the first response to one of those I've gotten. And I basically charged him a high enough diagnostic fee to be able to buy the scan tool that I need to be able to read that car properly so I can try and figure out what's going on. And a neighbor here, like 5 minutes away, who the people at this farm know, had coolant blowing everywhere in his 2500. So I'm going to go take a look at that. I got to go pick up a pressure tester. I think it's probably just a blown radiator, but got to make sure. I almost had a job happen that I was really excited about, doing some top-end work on an old 955L track loader, but the dude didn't end up going for it. I think he also knows enough about fixing shit to do it himself and decided he didn't feel like paying for it, but has a lot of equipment and said he'd hit me up another time if he had some other stuff he didn't want to do. So hopefully that turns into something. So I don't know. There's stuff happening. It's just slow, and I got to buy a lot of stuff. So time to go into some debt for the first time in my life, and hopefully I can get out of it. So I don't know if you can hear it, but there's some coyotes going crazy right now. I'm sure I'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll all work out in the end. And I know it's going to take, probably the better part of a year to get this business going properly, but just been a little stressed out. Rant complete.